accomplished.
As a young school, to be free of some of the stodgy traditions that govern these ceremonies. I hope you will enjoy the ritual that has evolved here, the vibe we're looking for, and that we need your help with, which is serious but celebratory. I invite you to be in the moment with us and enjoy with us acknowledging the hard work and accomplishments of these graduates. For our guests who are joining us today, and to acknowledge what our graduates have been a part of, just a few words about St. Francis. Like these graduates, St. Francis represents the vanguard of a new and more effective and affordable form of legal education. A form, by the way, that has saved the world of education, including legal education during the pandemic. Today, more than 30% of law schools nationwide have online or hybrid programs, and we and others have led the way in bringing legal education into the 21st century. The word is spreading, and in a short span of time, at least as we measure things in the academic world, St. Francis has established itself as the undisputed leader in California accredited online legal education, as measured by the professional qualities individual communities by legal standards to and other tech people their professions before even coming to St. Francis. No law school in the land has anything profile of accomplishments extremely proud of you. I wish I could be there in person to watch you walk across the stage. While I'm not an attorney, I do understand the dedication, perseverance, and unwavering commitment required throughout your legal education. The path to becoming a lawyer is not, but you tackled every obstacle with grit. You have had faculty throughout your program who have helped you with the skills, passion, Don't forget to keep us updated on as we will connect with you and hope. Best wishes, Randy Hildy. We have a situation. These two graduates who have earned a GPA in the summa cum laude range. That is a 3.75 GPA or higher on a 4-point scale. I didn't know the numbers went that high, but we've got, many academic honors among range are Zach Worsley, the best of the, and he actually earned the highest here in St. Francis. So, just a little bit under 4.0. I had the distinct privilege of one of my students in his first year in the prep for the baby bar, a first-year law students exam, I think in evidence and also in bar prep. And when you have Zach in your class, you have to wonder who is teaching whom. His writing often rivaled the sample answers that I provided in class, and I must admit, a little plagiarism here. I picked writing skills. I'm happy to acknowledge that Zach survived the bar exam earlier this week, and he now has his family here today. Zach is also a dentist in a rural area. Please join me in congratulating Zach Worsley on his remarkable academic success at St. Francis and in welcoming him to the podium for a few remarks. Zach?
And esteemed faculty, administrators, and colleagues, I'm happy to share a few thoughts with you today. First, I want to say happy birthday to my twin boys, John and Trevor. They turned 8 years old today. So we're excited for that, and I'm proud of you boys and the wonderful young, almost little men that you are becoming. I want to share some other thoughts of gratitude for a moment. First, I'm grateful that the bar is over. Woo! That was a whirlwind, and so now that's done. I'm grateful for my family, for my wife, Aubrey, and for all of my children, for my wife's parents who are here to support me today, and for my parents who are watching as well. I couldn't have done this without them and for their love and support and all that they do. I'm grateful for this unique program that is the St. Francis School of Law program. It is the only type of law school program that I could do. Living in a more rural area and working in a rural area, Last night I looked up the population of where I live and where I work to see what the current stats are. And the city where I live in, it's only about 15,000 people. And where I work and have an office, it's only about 2,000 people. And so there's no way that I could be in that type of spot and learn the law unless there was a fully online program. And I'm so grateful for that. And to have a family, to have 4 kids that are 8 and under, and to be able to work and to still be able to be challenged by a legal program and learn the law, because I've had an interest in the law for a long, long time, it just wouldn't have been possible without this program. So I'm so grateful that it exists. I'm grateful to the professors. We had wonderful professors that had such a practical focus on things and a lot of experience and great things to share. I'm grateful for my classmates, also wide range of skill and experience, and it was wonderful to learn with and from all of you. And I actually went back and I looked at my journal after the very first day of orientation to see what I thought from 4 years ago. And I wanted to share just a little snippet that I had from my journal right after that first Tuesday night class. So I had written, after having my first class on Tuesday night, I was feeling pretty intimidated. But I am excited to learn from my classmates and my professors. I am going to just try and learn and soak up as much as I possibly can for the next 4 years in this legal program. And I'm grateful that I've been able to do that these last 4 years. I thought I'd share just a couple thoughts of what it was like for me going through this program with 4 children. When I first started, Dylan was probably about 6 months old. Yep, he's raising his hand there. And John and Trevor were about 4 years old. And there were many hours of I and my wife that if they were getting too cranky, hand them to me, and I'd start reading out loud what I was reading, and that might put them to sleep. It might have worked once or twice, but... And there were many requests while I was reading for a cup of apple juice or a granola bar or a yogurt or a popsicle all throughout the day. And so that gave a nice little break from reading for a few minutes to go help the kids and then come back to studying again. When Ethan came along, I was actually in evidence. It was evidence 2. And Ethan, it was going to be a C-section that was going to be during the final week of evidence 2. But Ethan was kind enough to come a week early. And so did all that experience, and then I was back, and the very next week I did that evidence 2 final. So that was a fun ride that week, and there may have been some excited utterances at the hospital. So it was an absolute joy to be able to do a law school. And just to share one other little experience, that there's challenges all throughout the program in some form or another. So the week before we took the baby bar a few years back, my computer that I had registered to take the baby bar, the internal monitor or the camera broke. And since we were during COVID, we had to have that camera to be able to be proctored or monitored for that exam. And so 5 days before the baby bar, I had to go buy a new computer, get it re-registered, and make all sorts of phone calls to get special permission to do that, but still made it through and got it done. So that there were some challenges, but we made it through, and I couldn't have done it without my family and my wife and kids supporting me through those challenges. I want to share just a couple thoughts from some of my classmates. Before Professor Travis had asked for some thoughts from each of us, I had also asked some of my classmates to just share a couple thoughts with me. So hopefully I don't steal any of her thunder. So RRS mentioned that she enjoyed the program experience with her fellow students. Tammy mentioned that she enjoyed the high caliber of the law professors, the small, intimate classroom settings with a small number of students, the thoughtful and responsive law professors, and the convenience of an online law program that made it possible to receive an exceptional law education while working as a dental professional. And I want to share also what Eric has shared. Eric is not here today. I believe he's watching. And so he gave a very he gave me a little more of a paragraph, and I share many of the same sentiments. And so here's what Eric wanted to share. He says, I'm going to miss the St. Francis program, which has been a constant part of my daily and weekly schedule for the past 4 years, with Tuesday and Thursday classes, finding time during the week to read cases or study, late Sunday homework assignments after the weekend suddenly had disappeared and there was still work to submit before the deadline. I really enjoyed the presence of each week of the evening class Zooms and getting to have discussions with the students and the faculty. The time took on even greater meaning once the pandemic started, as it provided not only intellectual challenges and stimulation, but a source of community that was all of a sudden much more difficult to get from the quote-unquote real world. I still can't tell if having the pandemic hit while in St. Francis made the program feel longer or fly by. 4 years sure seems long, but I sometimes feel like I just started the program last year. Time's definitely been a little different these last few years, but having St. Francis classes and spending time with my fellow students has definitely been a bright spot through it all. The knowledge I've gained and the sense of accomplishment of achieving my JD from St. Francis and getting to take the bar is a very special gift, earned through the hard work of all of the students and staff. Everyone should be so proud to be a part of this impressive and wonderfully different kind of law school. I thought that was very well put, that Eric wrote. So thank you, Eric, for giving me some of those thoughts. This really is a different kind of law school. And now for just a moment, I want to talk to my children specifically for a moment. So John, Trevor, Dylan, little Ethan, education is important, boys. Work hard in school. Get good grades. Education and going to school, it will bless your life. And it will help you to better serve in the community and serve your family and those around you. So work hard in school, okay, boys? Yes. All right. And so with that, I'd just like to conclude and say congratulations to the St. Francis School of Law class of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Now, Tammy, because we keep our cohorts of students together throughout their law school experience, Zach, Tammy, and Eric Smith, who we think is attending via the live stream, they've been together in every single class, and they still like each other, as was evidenced in Eric's remarks. For the past 4 years, Zach and Tammy have shared the practice of dentistry in different states, though Tammy is a pediatric dentist, and they've also shared the end of the alphabet. So were we in a real classroom setting, they would always be sitting next to each other in the back as I was growing up. I always think of them as a formidable team of students. Having them in my classes certainly has kept me on my toes. Tammy is one of the most cheerful and pleasant students that I have ever encountered at St. Francis. Over the years, I've greatly enjoyed receiving your text, wishing me a happy holiday, happy Mother's Day, and always a cheerful message. And Tammy is here with her husband today, but she appears to have left her many pets at home, and she has many. So please join me in welcoming Tammy Ton to the podium for a few remarks.
It is my privilege to extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed faculty, fellow graduates, proud parents, family, and friends. I would like to thank all of you for being in attendance today. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you representing the dedication and determination of the class of 2023. Today marks a momentous occasion in our lives, the day we proudly stand as graduates of St. Francis School of Law. Today we celebrate not just our academic achievements, but also the steadfast spirit that brought us to this pinnacle of success. Let us take a moment to reflect on the incredible path that led us here. Each one of us has overcome many challenges, sacrifices, and sleepless nights, and we're driven by our thirst for knowledge and the desire to make a meaningful change in this world. Law school has been a rigorous experience where we have perfected our analytical skills, embraced the art of persuasion, and cultivated our capacity for empathy and compassion. We have learned that the law is not merely a set of rules, but a powerful instrument for change and justice. Let us not forget our mentors and loved ones who have supported us throughout this amazing journey, to our professors who imparted wisdom and encouraged our curiosity, to our families who provided unwavering encouragement, and to our friends who stood faithfully by our side. Thank you for all your efforts that you have invested in us to this day. So today is not the end, but only the beginning. As we celebrate our achievements today, let us also look forward to a successful future ahead. Congratulations, class of 2023. Thank you.
And I'm thrilled to have a surprise commencement speaker who was not on the agenda we had today, and that is a St. Francis alumnus and attorney, Megan Thompson-Mann. Megan is a September 2018 graduate of St. Francis. She attended her graduation ceremony that was held in March 2019, right before taking and passing, or right after taking and passing the California Bar in February. Megan was the valedictorian of St. Francis 5 years ago and also graduated summa cum laude. Megan has a very unique background, as I could say about all of our graduates, but before coming to St. Francis, she had obtained the equivalent of an LLB degree in English law from BPP Law School in London. And in coming to the U.S., Megan has worked as a legal assistant in West LA in the Mashan law firm since 2011. She came to St. Francis in 2014 and continued her role as a legal assistant all throughout her time at St. Francis. And since passing the bar and getting sworn in, she has been an associate attorney, I guess, at the same law firm, specializing in commercial real estate and business litigation. And I remember having Megan really in one of my first classes in St. Francis in 2014 and reading some assignments and thinking to myself, boy, this lady can write. And she really can write. The California Bar apparently agreed with me since they published one of Megan's baby bar essays as a selected exemplar essay. And I have to tell you, I still use that essay in my workshops today. Megan has continued to stay connected and help St. Francis by serving as a judge in a recent advanced legal writing class, and of course being gracious and agreeing to come here today and speak a few remarks to our graduates about life after law school. And yes, you are now going to have life after law school. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to attorney Megan Thompson-Mann.
Thanks, everyone. Let me see if you can see me. It's one of the hazards of being a very short person. So good morning. Let me just start by lending my voice to all the others this morning and saying congratulations for what is truly a massive achievement that we're all celebrating today here at your commencement, because this is a truly massive achievement. Only those who have suffered and occasionally enjoyed law school will know quite how hard it has been to get to where you are today. But sometimes when you're up close to something really big, you can't measure its enormity until you step a little further away. As Dean Travis pointed out, it's now been 4 years since I graduated, and I was up on a similar stage in a different building, also in Pasadena, which doesn't seem possible. I was there that day with Dean Travis and my classmate and very good friend Angela is going to hate me for pointing her out in the audience, but there you go. I could not have made it without you, and I could not have made it without you. Thank you both so much. Dean Travis, you helped shepherd me through the slings and arrows of outrageous bar prep. You got me as a one-timer, one and done. Thank you so much. Angela, I owe you a drink for embarrassing you. I'm sorry. But I'm really here to tell you a little about how St. Francis has shaped me into the lawyer I have become and am becoming every day in practice. Like most of you, maybe all of you, my path to law school wasn't a straight one. Dean Travis pointed out that I went to law school in England, but I am very obviously an American who made it over to the UK, didn't intend to stay, ended up staying. And my first real job over there was in reality television in the mid-90s in London, and I absolutely hated it. I like to say I was so turned off by the sleaziness of it all that I wanted a profession with a better reputation for morality, so I became a lawyer. Dean Travis mentioned my English legal qualification. I graduated from law school in England. I never practiced, which in England means that it's not the equivalent of having passed the bar. Instead, I went into investment management. I worked for many years in responsible investment and corporate governance, the ESG that you see all about on television now and radio. And I worked for a couple of think tanks. I worked for the UN. I worked for the Yale School of Management. I did all sorts of weird stuff. Then I made it to California, and I thought, maybe I want to be a lawyer. What does that involve? And then I found out that because I had never practiced, I had to start over from square one with a JD, and I was not very excited about this proposition. I knew I needed something part-time to accommodate my job as a legal assistant for a small law firm in West LA. I wanted something that wasn't a cutthroat, paper chase kind of environment that I know many traditional law schools have, class rankings, getting graded on a curve. I wanted a small collegial environment where my classmates would be my colleagues, not my competitors. And I wanted a place where I would be taught by practitioners, because that's what I plan to be. I plan to be a practitioner and not an academic. And that's what my boss was counting on me to be once I passed the bar. St. Francis was all of those things and even more. I had a little bit of a leg up in my first year from my prior legal education, but I was consistently challenged throughout my studies. I loved it, and I'm not going to lie, I sometimes absolutely hated it because it was so rigorous. I still have flashbacks to sitting on my kitchen floor during taking business associations, thinking, 1, I chose to do this. 2, why did I choose to do this? And 3, will I ever really have any reason to think about Rule 10b-5 again? The answer is not yet, but life can be very weird. What I did find most useful was the sheer amount of writing I did every week, 52 weeks a year back then. I wrote at Christmas parties where people told me to stop writing, and I told them to leave me alone. I wrote on vacation. I wrote an appellate brief for advanced legal writing while I was driving across the country with my mother in a very small car. That was interesting. It prepared me, though, for what I do every single day. Put pen to paper, put fingers on the keyboard, and work the law. To argue, to persuade, to explain. To consider the facts, find the issue, apply the law, and wrap it all up in a conclusion that might actually work, and it does sometimes. The discipline of regular writing, and lots of it. was perhaps the most useful skill I learned at St. Francis. As a litigator, it's really the alpha and the omega of practice. I write far more frequently than I get a chance to speak in court. If you plan on practicing, whether in litigation or transactional work, or even if you don't plan on practicing the law at all, I encourage you all to keep writing. Even in this period, if you've just taken the bar or you're moving up, you're just after you've passed, just keep doing it, even if it's only for pleasure. As soon as I got back from a well-deserved post-bar vacation, I found myself at a loss on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and really every day. There was a void where I used to go to school, or I was preparing for the bar, or generally doing something outside of work that made me use my brain. So I started writing fiction again after a 25-year break, and soon enough, I had a hobby. I'm currently working on my first novel, and maybe someday I will let somebody actually read it who's not in my writing group. So if you do choose to practice, I think my biggest piece of advice, besides all the writing, is to be kind to yourself. This can be a punishing profession, full of big egos and big emotions where you'd least expect them. There are bullies and creeps, and also your inner critic always griping at you. Let the useless stuff go. You will make mistakes. Some of them are going to be bigger than others, and some that are just dumb bad luck. I work with attorneys who have been in practice for 40 years, and they make mistakes all the time. It happens. Just like in law school, learn from it and move on. And let yourself celebrate the successes. Don't be humble about it. That's something I had to learn. Listen to people when they appreciate you and take it on board. And just like with your mistakes, learn from the successes too. I said earlier that sometimes it's hard to see big things when you're very close to them. In the weeks and months and years that follow, the lens you turn on law school will sharpen as you pull farther away. What you just did was amazing, and you will appreciate that more and more as each year passes. They say that law school fundamentally changes who you are as a person, rewires your brain, amps up logic, makes you see the many, many shades of gray that exist in the world. It's true, all of it, and all of it will always be with you. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much, and as Megan stealthily pointed out, thank you for Angela Malikian, who's another one of our alumnus who came back to help celebrate with you today. So hopefully you'll all be able to talk to them later and share some of their wisdom. Okay, graduates, we are getting closer to the big moment. The Juris Doctor degree you received today represents the recognition by the school and the faculty that you have successfully completed the rigorous academic program designed by the faculty to prepare you for entry into the profession of law. Upon graduation, you carry the burden of trust placed in attorneys and counselors at law by the most important people in the legal system, the clients we serve, and the people that the law means to protect, whether guarding their rights or redressing their grievances. Only when the faculty is satisfied that you have met their demanding standards can you walk across the stage and gain this degree. So at this time, I would like to offer a few remarks on behalf of the faculty of St. Francis regarding these 2023 graduates and their accomplishments here. I want to start by congratulating the graduates' families and friends for supporting them and surviving law school these past 4+ years. Thank you all. You've probably learned more about the law than you ever imagined, being subjected to their Tuesday and Thursday night classes for all of these years. On the other side of the camera, we've learned more about our graduates' families, pets, and friends by seeing you trying to be invisible in the background while your grads were on camera. So thank you for surviving law school. And seriously, graduates, about 9 years ago when I first came to St. Francis and we started to imagine an elite online law school, I hope that one day we would graduate adults of your competency, diligence, perseverance, creativity, and intellect. And here you are. And I am thrilled to have participated and helped to guide you all on this journey. You are now the third graduating class from St. Francis as a California accredited law school. And it really is achievements of students like you who have enabled our accreditation to happen. So thank you. All of our graduates came to St. Francis as highly accomplished professionals. Some of you, I think, wanted to practice, and some sought the knowledge of the law to help you grow in your chosen professions. You all gave law school a try, I imagine not knowing and perhaps even doubting that you could succeed, but you all have. I can speak on behalf of the faculty that we have been challenged in every class with you and impressed by your spirit, motivation, perseverance, and dedication to your law studies. But this is your graduation, and I want to briefly address all of our graduates. I've asked our graduates to provide me with just their reflections on their journey at St. Francis, so I'll address their thoughts as well. And Zach, my personal congratulations to you. You're one of the most thoughtful and diligent students I have ever had the privilege to teach. And as Zach says, I've had an interest in the law for a long time. I'm grateful that St. Francis program exists so that I could live and work in a more rural area of Texas, raise a family, and still be challenged by a rigorous legal training program with top-notch students and professors. And Zach, I am sure you will use your law degree to make a contribution to your field and the world, so congratulations. Eric Smith, a big shout out to Eric, who could not join us in person, but who hopefully can catch the live stream. And Eric's, for the past 8 years, has worked in biotech, managing finance and operation functions for startups, developing new drug treatments. And as Eric says, St. Francis was a tremendous experience for me. It was a fun mental challenge, likely the last of several postgraduate certificates and programs I've completed over the years. It became a welcome community as the pandemic hit shortly after we started, filling a couple nights a week with stimulating conversation and smiling peers, getting past the baby bar and ultimately completing my JD at St. Francis is a proud academic achievement that I'll carry throughout the rest of my career. I always think of Eric as somewhat of a stealth student, steady, very smart, but quiet. However, when Eric, you did speak up, your true intellect and thoughtfulness was apparent. So, congratulations, Eric. Tammy. What I enjoyed most about, Tammy says what she enjoyed most about her St. Francis Law experience, the high caliber professors, the small intimate virtual class settings, which allowed her to actively participate in real-time discussions, thoughtful and responsive law professors who truly cared about her education, and that is true, the friendships that she made among students in her cohorts, and the ability to receive an exceptional legal education while working full-time as a dental professional. I spoke about Tammy earlier, but I just wanted to add that count on a phone call from me asking you to continue providing help to St. Francis as you've done in the past. It has been a joy to get you to know you. Congratulations, Tammy. Sean is one of our students who is finishing up, graduating this year, and formally earning his JD a little bit later, as is Anna. And Sean's thoughts are that St. Francis was a unique academic experience that afforded a great deal of flexibility, allowing him to study from anywhere in the world, even as he was traveling overseas. It's ideal for people like him and many of you who have full-time jobs, family commitments, and other obligations that make it difficult to attend a traditional law school. He very much appreciates the St. Francis faculty and staff who were knowledgeable in their subjects and willing to help students to learn and understand legal concepts. Congratulations, Sean. Marilyn. Shout out to Marilyn's mother, who I think is managed to be on the live stream. We're so happy that you're seeing this one of what I understand is many graduations of Marilyn's. So Marilyn, what a journey it has been. You are the epitome of perseverance and grit. I have complete faith that you will conquer whatever you set your mind to. And you've set your mind to many things. Multiple graduate degrees, honors and accolades, probably little room on your mantle or in your study for another diploma, but we're going to give you one with academic honors, of course. So Marilyn has managed, I guess, even with what her friends call her addiction to going to school, to travel to several countries, live in a few for short periods, and divide into some. So Marilyn wanted to say hello to her mom, who's 95 and watching the live stream for her, 6th post-high school graduations. So congrats, Mom and Marilyn. RRS. RRS came to St. Francis as a transfer student from Iowa. So she, unlike the other graduates who are here, managed to escape the baby bar, but she still stayed with us for 4 years and also took the California bar exam with you all earlier this week. I had the pleasure of supervising RRS's externship, working in the area of immigration, where I'm sure you will excel. In addition to being a law student now, law graduate, RRS is an adjunct professor, substitute teacher, and an architectural writing and parliamentary consultant. She's also chair of the board for Dubuque for refugee children who work with unaccompanied minors. And RRS's thoughts were what she enjoyed the most about the St. Francis program experience was her fellow students and meeting professors and learning from what they had to offer. So congratulations, RRS. Jen Tinkau, or as we know him, Charlie, and I understand it's 1 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan, where he is, but I hope that you're up and listening to our acknowledgments of your graduation. And those of us who know Charlie probably know he's probably the most inquisitive and intellectually engaged student, at least that I've known at St. Francis. I remember in Charlie's first year, right after orientation, I would receive emails after emails after emails with very excellent questions, some of them, Charlie, because you doubted your facility in English. You certainly were able to power through any weakness in English fluency. As Charlie says, my experience at St. Francis Law School has been very intellectually productive in my life. Although I have acquired a comprehensive knowledge of how the legal system works in the U.S., What I value the most about the program is the improvement in my ability to reason, analyze, and articulate. There is a world of difference between my writing when I first started 4 years ago and my writing now. I am truly grateful that 4 years curriculum is structured not only to prepare us very well for the bar, but also forced us to improve the quality of our thinking. 4 years ago, I started class at St. Francis wondering if I will actually learn anything from an online law school. Today, I can confidently say that attending St. Francis was one of the best decisions I've made for myself. So hope you're listening, and congrats, Charlie. Anna Kreschak. I have thoroughly enjoyed having Anna in my classes. You are such a lovely person and so thoughtful, smart, and motivated to make it through the program despite a very demanding job. And Anna has great thoughts about law school that we can end on this morning. The last 4 years at St. Francis were a beautiful challenge, navigating professional and academic ambitions simultaneously. Entering school at a later stage in my career, as many of the students here have, it created fodder for incredible discussions in class. The rich, diverse background of both professors and students meant that in every subject, someone would layer in a first-hand account of a similar scenario they had encountered. It brought the law out of the books and into real life, underscoring its impact. I will forever be grateful for the didactic education, the skills that I've learned, and the beautiful challenge of it all. Great thoughts. Congratulations, Anna. And before I forget, all the graduates, look out for my email after graduation. That will provide you with instructions to obtain your gift of official St. Francis swag. Better late than never, right? So sweatshirts, jackets, t-shirts, whatever you'd like, raid the store. I never said that. But finally, for you all give St. Francis its spark, its energy, and the driving sense of purpose and mission. Use your legal training to do good work. And final thoughts here, quoting my legal hero, the notorious RBG, from one of her commencement addresses. If you want to be a true professional, do something outside yourself. To make life a little better for people less fortunate than you, that's what I think a meaningful life is. One lives not just for oneself, but for one's community. So use your knowledge to fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. Best of luck to you all. So, Rand. Well, graduates, the big moment has arrived. We will first confer the degrees, then we'll ask each graduate to come to the stage and receive their diplomas and be hooded with the academic honors and regalia that they are entitled to. For our audience, the practice of wearing robes and hoods extends back at least as long as there's been higher education, certainly into the Middle Ages. It was frankly practical in origin, as the buildings, which are great stone edifices, were unbearably cold. But academics being academics, they soon made it into something special with different kinds of robes and hoods to distinguish different disciplines and levels of academic achievement. There are 3 important things to know about this tradition. The first is that the traditional color for law, for robes and hoods, is purple. We're not just picking that color because we think it's pretty. The second is that the hood colors, in addition to the purple linings, are distinctive for each institution of higher learning, and ours are red and white. And you'll see the faculty with different color hoods depending on where they went to law school. They did all go to law school as well. And the third is that your graduate will, after today, wear this hood and these colors henceforth in any graduation of which they are a part, unless and until they obtain another higher degree from a different institution. Don't take that seriously, Marilyn. So take care of these hoods and get used to seeing them. Will the 2023 graduates please stand? The Juris Doctorate degree signifies that a person has completed a comprehensive and vigorous course of study in the subject matter, principles, and skills necessary to be an effective lawyer and contributing member of the legal profession. Completion of a Juris Doctorate program is something that takes talent, intellectual curiosity, and commitment. So congratulations to each of you here today for your accomplishments. By the authority vested in me on behalf of the faculty of St. Francis School of Law, I confer upon you and all other JD graduates who are listed in the program who have met the program requirements the degree of Juris Doctor with all rights and privileges thereupon appertaining. Will you please join me in congratulating our 2023 graduates? Well, now I call on Professor Teresita Yu, who will be helping me in the hooding ceremony. So would you go back to your seats, graduates, and come up on the stage as we call your name. Marilyn Dietz. Anna Kresha. Okay, graduates, families, and friends, may I present the 2023 St. Francis School of Law graduating class. Please join me in congratulating them once again. Hey, just seated. Very few closing remarks. As is usually the case in life, things worth doing are worth doing with and for others. One seldom accomplishes anything truly worthwhile by oneself. It is surely true for all of those who receive diplomas today. And again, thank you for the spouses, partners, children, parents, and close friends of the graduates who have been with them on their St. Francis journey. We deeply appreciate all of you and all the support that you have provided to make them successful. So the graduates are going to process with me out of this room, and then this will conclude the formal ceremony. We would appreciate the audience staying in their seats during the processional, and then we look forward to seeing you all at the reception that follows shortly. The 7th St. Francis School of Law commencement is adjourned.